Welcome, everybody, to Week 12 of the NFL Pick'em Show on the Grueling Truth Sports Network. The NFL Weekly Pick'em Show is brought to you by MyBookie.ag. Oz Davis isn't with us today because he won so much money last week that he just skipped town. And, of course, the thing that's impressive is he got the money within 48 hours. I'm your host for the NFL Pick'em Show, Mike Goodpaster. Right now, I want to welcome in my co-host. First up, the biggest loser last week, of course, was Oz Davis. He was 7-7, led off by that pick of Tennessee over Pittsburgh. Next up, in second to last place, Brian Schmidt. It was 9-5. How you doing, Schmitty?
I'm doing good. Time to put it in gear for the end of the year so that I can get back into first place and get my big trophy at the end of the year. But I wanted everybody to have a taste of first place. It's like giving everybody a trophy. So that's why I've kind of been laying low here. So I had beer and wings tonight, so I'm ready to pick.
All right. Next up, we had a three-way tie for first with myself and these other two gentlemen. First up, we've got now in the lead for the season by a game over Brian and myself, Matt Andruscavage. How you doing, Matt?
I am good. Ready to pick.
And next up, also tied for first at 10-4, Alex Golden. I got your name right.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
I even emphasized the Golden.
I thought you said goldfish.
Goldfish. Go fish.
I thought he said goldfin.
Well, we know he can never get my name right, so as long as you get the first name right, I guess that's all that matters.
Over the last year, I have gotten it wrong once. So that's a pattern of, just doing stuff with you.
Standards are high.
Yeah, I know. The standards
are high. Truth standards are high.
All right, let's start off with Brian, since you're the biggest loser, since Oz isn't here. What was the thing that really stuck out to you in Week 11?
Obviously, seeing Pittsburgh kind of bring it on, that was big. But, why Buffalo decided that they had to make that change at quarterback, I will never know. It was absolutely the most asinine thing I have seen in a while, and we've seen a lot of asinine things on this show. We've talked about them, but that was crazy. Why you make that switch is beyond me. The reasonings don't make sense, and I think it, obviously it showed to be a horrible move. And the fact that I think I read somewhere today where they're sticking with him at quarterback, I thought obviously there's something more behind the scenes to this decision.
Yeah, and I don't know what that would be. Sure, he's got a cool last name, Peterman, but I don't know why you would do that. Tyrod Taylor's a good quarterback. I don't care what anybody says, and he's a lot better than Nathan Peterman. Alex, what was your big takeaway from the past week? The Colts didn't lose.
Yeah, they didn't lose, and neither did the 49ers. So me and Matt, we got ourselves a victory this week. But in all seriousness, I think the thing that's sticking out to me the most is the Kansas City Chiefs, man. They've lost 4 of their last 5. This is once the only team that was undefeated after the first 6 games, and now they just look terrible. And losing to the New York Giants 12-9, a team that's trying to tank, that's just atrocious. And so, I was sitting over here the first half of the season saying Alex Smith should be MVP, but the way he's been playing right now, it looks like it might be Mahomes' time, and Alex Smith might be on his way out looking for a job next season.
All right, Matt?
Well, the Kansas City Giants game was that was the thing I wanted to talk about as well. To me, after watching the Niners play the Giants a couple weeks ago, I was pretty convinced even before that the Giants are just really, really bad. I think they have a real problem at head coach. But to see them beat Kansas City was just stunning to me. I was completely blown away by it. I thought there was just no way that could happen. So I think there is something wrong in Kansas City. The Buffalo issue, I figured someone would bring that up. I think there's more going on with something with Tyrod Taylor and either the head coach or the ownership, because they didn't really seem to want him back in the offseason last year. They kind of put him out there, and then at the last minute they signed him before he could really get out there. But I don't think they signed him to a long-term deal. So I think there could be something else going on there. But I think the biggest thing for me in the NFC is I really do like the Detroit Lions, and I think of the teams like the Minnesota Vikings and the LA Rams, I think the Lions have a really easy schedule. Now, they're probably going to have a tough time against Minnesota, but after that, they're really a team that could make a lot of noise, have a shot at the division, but once they get in the playoffs, they can do damage.
Yeah, and the thing that's big about that is if you look at the NFC right now, probably 3 to 4 best teams in the entire NFL are there, and it's Minnesota, New Orleans. I mean, nobody thought that these teams would be doing this right now, man.
Right, exactly. These are all, look at the Eagles, all the teams that are winning the division right now, the Eagles, the Vikings, the Saints, and the Rams. Those are all teams that were not even in the playoffs last year.
Yeah, and that just tells you how quickly you can switch things around in the NFL unless you're the Cleveland Browns.
Right.
All right, we'll go ahead and we'll start off. We'll start off with the Thanksgiving Day games. The first game, Alex Golden, the Minnesota Vikings are favored by 3 at the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, so this is a Thanksgiving Day game, and I know that the Lions have played this traditionally, but they've won 4 of the last Thanksgiving Day games, and I think history repeats itself. Last year they played Minnesota and won by 3. I think it's going to be a very similar game, and this will only make the race for the NFC North even more competitive. So I've got the Lions.
All right. Matt.
I was hoping to go last on this because this is a really hard game to pick. As I said before, I really do like the Lions, but this is the week I think they're going to have a really hard time. The Vikings are really getting it done with Case Keenum and Jerick McKinnon as opposed to Dalvin Cook and either Sam Bradford or Teddy Bridgewater. They got a really good defense. I do like their coach better than the Lions coach. I'm really torn on this. I want to pick Detroit, but I think I'm going to have to pick Minnesota in a tight game. Would not surprise me, though, to see the Lions win, but after this game, this is where I think it gets a lot easier for the Lions and a lot harder for Minnesota. But this week, I think I'm going to take the Vikings in a very close game.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Matt. I think Minnesota wins the game. I don't think it has anything to do with Case Keenum either. I just think Minnesota's got a great defense. Their offensive line so far, I think, has played really well, better than I think most people thought they would have. So I'm going to go with the Vikings, and it's pretty much going to clinch the division for them, Matt.
Yeah, I guess that would put them up 3 games. Did they play already together? Did they play each other?
Yes, they
already?
did play.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that would clinch the division, but Detroit probably still makes the wild card.
I don't know, because I know their schedule's easy, but they've had trouble with everybody. You still have no run game, and I still think they have a problem at linebacker and defensively overall. I think if they make the playoffs, it's going to be because Matt Stafford gets hot.
Yeah.
All right, next up, we've got Brian Schmidt.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you guys. I'm going to go with Minnesota. As much as I really want Detroit, I like watching Detroit. I like Detroit, but Minnesota just has, everything that you really want. Great defense. Yeah, they don't have the greatest offense, but they've got great coaching. If you watch their game plans over the course of the season, offensively, defensively, they have great game plans. They maximize the talent that they have. They put people in the right spots to be successful, and that's ultimately why they've had the success they've had. So I like Minnesota in this.
All right, next up, we've got the Los Angeles Chargers are favored by a point over Dallas, Brian.
Ooh, boy, and I want to agree with that. But you know what? I am going to agree with it. I'm going to go with Chargers. Dallas, I think right now is a team on the ropes, and without really you're seeing right now, everybody we've talked about Prescott, but I think we're really seeing when your offensive line is beat up, they're not as good as they think they are, and they don't have Elliott. And the one thing about their backup running backs is they're good backup running backs, but they're not Elliott. Elliott hits the hole quicker. He makes, he does some things to make people miss. He runs through people. I saw both running backs last week tip throwing through the line. So there's definitely a difference when you don't have Elliott, you don't have an offensive line. For some reason, I'm just getting a feeling the Chargers will win this.
All right, Alex?
Yeah, this is going to be a tough game. I agree with everything Brian said there about the Cowboys needing Ezekiel Elliott, but at the same time, I think Dak Prescott's actually a good quarterback, and I think that Dallas at home has a really good chance to win. So I'm gonna stick here with Dallas at home over the Chargers in a very close game.
All right, Matt. Alex,
yeah, originally,
hold on. Alex, you took Dallas?
Yeah.
Yeah, I took Dallas.
All right, go ahead, Matt. Sorry about that.
Yeah, originally I wanted to take Dallas, but there's two components that I forgot about it, and as Schmidt was talking, even though he didn't say it, it just kind of came to my mind. First of all, Schmidt is exactly right. The offensive line is a huge problem to Ron Smith. You can see the deficiencies on the line, both in the run game and how it's disrupting Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott really struggled against the Eagles, but there's two other instances in this matchup that I'm going to pick the Chargers because, for one thing, they have a fantastic pass rush, could be one of the best pass rushes in the NFL. And secondly, Dallas is missing Sean Lee. When Dallas does not have Sean Lee, their defense is nowhere near as effective. You can see it on the ground game when they can't stop the run. And I just think it affects their pass rush somehow. But I'm going to pick the Chargers to win on Thanksgiving. And even though normally I'd pick Dallas, I think they're just missing too much right now.
Yeah, the thing that concerns me about this game is Dallas has a tendency to have injury problems on Thanksgiving. If you remember Clint Longley coming in 74, replacing Roger Staubach, even Jason Garrett replacing Troy Aikman in a game against the Green Bay Packers back in the mid-'90s.
Yeah.
But when I look at this, the thing that stands out to me, like you said, is the Chargers pass rush, Joey Bosa and the guys. I think the Chargers take them. All right, the next game, we've got the New York Giants on a one-game winning streak at the Washington Redskins. The Redskins completely imploded against New Orleans. I think in the end, that's going to be the game they look back and say, there went our playoff chances right there. I'm going to go with Washington to bounce back and win this game, though. Alex?
Well, finally, you guys are in agreement with me, or maybe it's vice versa. I'm in agreement with you guys finally. But, yeah, I actually went all home teams here for Thursday, and so, yeah, I'm going to pick the Redskins to win this game. They're just leaps and bounds better than the Giants are.
All right, Brian?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Washington. Giants, I'm still not sure how they beat Kansas City, but this is a game where I just don't see that the Giants will have a chance, and I think they'll go back to their losing ways.
All right. Speaking of losing ways in the San Francisco 49ers, Matt Andruscavage, Giants at the Redskins.
Shots fired. Okay. The thing about the Redskins is, did Chris Thompson really hurt himself? Like, is he gone?
They carted him off the field. I haven't heard anything recently. Has anybody else heard anything?
Mm-hmm.
I think he's done. That's what I heard.
Yeah, it looked like it when they took him off the field.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're saying P-Ryan's going to be the lead back now.
Right. I don't think that necessarily means they lose this game, but in conjunction with what you said, Mike, they had a 99.2% win probability with 3 minutes to go last week, and they lost. That has to be the game they look back and go, man, there went everything. I don't think the Redskins are very good right now. Terrell Pryor's done. They just aren't the team that everybody kind of thought. Jordan Reed hasn't played in forever. They're just missing a lot. But exactly. Even so, I'm stunned by what I saw last week, but I just cannot imagine the Giants winning 2 in a row. So I guess I got to take the Redskins by default.
All right. The next game, of course, the game of the week, the Battle of Ohio, the Cleveland Browns at the Cincinnati Bengals. Cincinnati's favored by 8, Brian.
Yeah, Cincinnati's going to win this. They're going to win it easily. This is one of those games that, if you have a choice of watching this or watching paint dry, pick paint dry, because this is going to be bad.
All right. Alex.
Well, Mike, I have to ask you a question. So I heard that Cincinnati is actually in contention to get an MLS team there. Is that true?
I don't know. I don't pay attention to girls' sports.
Yeah, well, if they end up getting an MLS team, it'd be nice for Cincinnati because then they'd finally have a real football team there. But other than that,
if you worked on that for more than just a little bit, like if you worked on it for a couple days to come up with something to zing me with, that really fell flat.
As soon as you called me, I was like, I'm going to pull this one out of my hat. But no, it's true. And just so you know, the Cleveland Browns are still, like I mentioned off air with you guys, they still have a chance to make the playoffs, even though it's not going to happen. 47 things have to happen. Scenario-wise, for them to get in. Well, I can tell you this,
that's completely out if one of those 47 things include them winning a football game.
Yeah, no, I agree. Cleveland's terrible, but, right behind them is Cincinnati. This is going to be probably the worst game of the week.
Yeah, I know. The Bengals are right behind them. That's why the Bengals have won 4 games, and they beat the Browns 31-0 in Cleveland. Those teams are pretty much even.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm going to pick Cincinnati here back-to-back weeks in a row, but still not a fun game to watch.
Don't you wish your team sucked that bad so you could pick them back-to-back weeks?
Oh, I'm picking them this week, actually.
Oh, okay. Well, you're not supposed to give away the teasers. I mean, now people have stopped listening because they wanted to see if Alex would pick the Colts or not. Brian?
Well, see, now you just gave it away. They might have not known right now.
Brian?
Yes.
Oh, you already picked Cleveland, Cincinnati. I thought that maybe you were so spellbound by the Cincinnati Bengals that maybe you'd want to pick it again. Matt?
Yeah, I think Cincinnati wins to further cement, the coach staying. So I'll go with Cincinnati.
It's fine with me. When the Bengals are in the Super Bowl this year, you're going to be wishing you didn't talk like that. I'm going to go with the Bengals too. That'll make them 5-6. That'll set them up for the Monday night showdown where they kick the Pittsburgh Steelers' ass. All right, now back to reality. Back to reality. Alex, the Chicago Bears at the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles are 14-point underdogs. Or 14-point favorites.
I was about to say underdogs.
Well, the 85 Bears are playing this week against them.
Yeah, no, they're going to... Oh, I don't know if I want to take that point or not, because
that's a lot of
14 points is a lot. And Chicago's defense isn't bad. They almost had a chance to win last week and, arguably could have. So, I'm going to pick Philadelphia, but I'm giving the points.
All right. I will go with Philadelphia. I would actually give the points because I don't think the Bears' defense has played that well the last couple of weeks, or they may be in playoff contention right now. Matt?
Yeah, I would go. The Eagles should really run away with this game. I guess I could see them only winning by 10 possibly if a few things go right, but they're just head and shoulders above a team like the Bears. They're going to kill them.
All right, Brian?
Yeah, Eagles are going to absolutely destroy them. It won't be close. And also big shout-out to Becky, who's listening to the show, and Amarillo, who's right now happy that I picked the Eagles once again.
All right.
Who is this Becky?
I
want to know more about this
She
Becky.
should be a sponsor of the show if you're bringing her up.
Well, this hour of the show is brought to you by Becky.
I think I'm gonna have to talk to her about sponsoring the show. So
yeah, okay.
Mybecky.ag.
Yeah. My Becky. Oh gosh.
Oh, hell. All right, the next game. I apologize for Matt Andruscavage, Becky. He know not what he do. Next up, Miami at New England. This is a game that I think will be a bigger ass-kicking in Chicago and Philly. So do the bookmakers. MyBookie.ag has New England as a 16.5-point favorite. I will take New England. I will give to 16.5 points, and I will sleep very well. Brian?
Yeah, I will take New England and 16.5 points, and I will take your money and bet against New England, and we will both sleep very well.
All right, that didn't make much sense, but all right. Matt?
Yeah, New England, just like, we talked about this beginning of the year, I'm going to go give everybody the benefit of the doubt that despite the early struggles of the Patriots, we all believed that there was no way that was going to stay the same. And lo and behold, here we are, and they're 8-2, getting better and better. The defense is looking better. The offense is doing great. Tom Brady does not look 40, and they're on a roll. And right now, to me, it's Pittsburgh and New England and everybody else, and just the way pretty much most of us thought it, at least. So it's right. Things are right as they should be based on what we all thought at the beginning of the year. I don't see any way New England loses this. They probably win by more than 16. So, yep, I'm with you guys. Take them with the points.
Alex?
Yeah, I'm going to pick the Patriots as well. And I don't know if you guys watched any of Fox, NFL on Fox last Sunday, but Jimmy Johnson said that Jay Cutler should never have gone back into the NFL, and he should have stuck to broadcasting. And then they kindly reminded him that he never actually started broadcasting either. So I thought that was hysterical. But, yeah, no, Miami's a joke. I mean, their franchise is one of the most puzzling franchises in the NFL. But I feel like I can say that about a lot of teams, like the Giants, especially them too. But, yeah, there's no way you don't pick New England here, especially at New England. They are a division rival, so it could be semi-close. But, yeah, I'm picking New England with the points.
Next up, Matt Andruscavage. The Buffalo Bills are in a tailspin at the Kansas City Chiefs, or who are in a tailspin.
Yeah, I think this is really timely for Kansas City here because I don't know that we have any specific reasons why Kansas City's in a tailspin. I don't think they're missing. I mean, Eric Berry's been out since the beginning of the year, so I don't think that really injuries are a problem. I think they're just sometimes good teams just go through difficult times during the season, but if there was a time where they could get back on track, this is a perfect time. They're at home playing a team that really is on a tailspin for a number of reasons, especially at the quarterback position. But Kansas City has every opportunity here to get back on track, and I think they will. I'll take Kansas City tonight.
All right, Alex?
Yeah, but, it was a timely game for them last week, too, against the Giants, right? And they still blew that one. So, I mean, if Buffalo's stuck on starting their backup quarterback that I can't even remember his name and sitting Tyrod Taylor.
Nathan Peterman.
Peterman. Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah,
Peterman.
But I think now that loss was a wake-up call. It's got to be.
Now, they're saying they're still starting him.
They're saying as far as what I saw today, they were still, and that's why I said earlier, it blows my mind that a quarterback that throws 5 interceptions in the first half looked as bad as he looked, and you're still going to start him this week.
Yeah. Yeah, that's laughable. I mean, I'm sorry, but if Buffalo is that dumb to do that, then there's no way you pick against the Chiefs in this game. But Kansas City, this is a must-win for them. I mean, they're 6-4. They're leading their division, but right behind them are the Raiders and the Chargers at 4-6. And you guys picked the Chargers to win, so that means they could be right there with them fighting for a playoff spot. So, yeah, Kansas City has to win this game. I think it's a must-win.
Well, let's face it, though, Alex. Any team in the AFC with 3 or more wins still has a shot. Any team with 4 or more wins has a good shot.
Well, it's a good thing my Colts are 3-7 then.
There you go. Now they just got to win 5 out of 6.
We got this.
That was funny. Brian.
Yeah, go with the Chiefs. If the Bills are truly going to start this dude at quarterback, this is going to be bad. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Chiefs.
Yeah, I would actually consider betting Buffalo if Tyrod Taylor was playing, but there's no chance with Peterman.
Me too.
Wasn't Peterman in Seinfeld or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I remember the name. Maybe that was his dad or something. The show was a bigger success than his NFL career is going to be, I think. So I'm going to go with Kansas City. The next game up, we've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Atlanta Falcons. MyBookie.ag has Atlanta as a 10-point favorite. I'll start it off. I'm going to go with Atlanta. I think the point spread might be a little big, but Tampa Bay has really underperformed all year, and beating up the Miami Dolphins doesn't really give me a ton of confidence in them after seeing in the other 10 weeks of the season. So I'm going to go with the Falcons, Brian.
Yeah, I'm going to agree. I'm going to go with the Falcons. Why I even picked them last week, I have no idea, but I'm going to go with the Falcons.
All right, Alex?
Yeah, well, the Buccaneers have won 2 in a row since they took out Jameis Winston. So that's something to keep an eye on here. I'm still not going to pick them because the Falcons are the better football team. But that's just keep your eye on Tampa Bay with that whole situation and see how Fitzpatrick does going forward.
All right, Matt Andruscavage?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Atlanta Falcons. I think even with Devontae Freeman out, I mean, that's the nice thing about their squad. They've got 2 really good backs. And, I think Atlanta's had their struggles. You can see they're not quite the same team at all as last year. Julio Jones only has 1 touchdown this year. So they're not quite the same team as last year, but they're still a good team. The defense is starting to come into its own here. So I don't think Tampa really can keep up if they, as long as they don't turn the ball over a lot. But I'll go with Atlanta.
All right, next up, we've got the Carolina Panthers, favored by 5 at the New York Jets. We're going to go with Brian Schmidt first because he loves picking the New York Jets.
I do. However, this will not be the week. I'll go with Carolina. The Jets ruin me every so often to picking them, so I'm going to go with Carolina.
All right, I'm going to go with Carolina also. I think the Jets will play them tough like they usually do. In all their games this year, they've played pretty tough. But I'm going to go with Carolina. Alex?
Yeah, you've been giving Cam Newton a lot of crap recently for him not being a good quarterback, but, they are 7-3, and their schedule's not been the toughest, but still, winning 7 games and, being in the playoff hunt's a big thing for Carolina right now. I think their defense is a little bit better than advertised, and they did lose their tight end to start the season out with Greg Olsen, and he also lost Kelvin Benjamin. So the offense is still not great, but they're still winning games, which is something that you have to give them credit for. But if I have any advice for anybody that likes Cam Newton, how in the world do you follow him on Instagram? You guys should go, if you have a chance, check this out and read how he types on Instagram. It is the most difficult thing to read. He literally uses all this.
Read us one.
Huh?
Read us one.
I can't even read it. They're so long, but they're just. He doesn't he writes normal, he says normal stuff, but he uses all the weird letters, you know how you can hold your E down on a smartphone and it'll give you all the different ways you can write an E if you're from a different country, whatever. He writes with all these different accents on his letters, and it's just really hard to read. So I'll send you all a picture of this, though.
All right. Next up, Matt Andruscavage.
Yeah, you got to take Carolina in this instance, but no, I don't think Cam Newton's a great quarterback. I think he's played well at times, but I think he's wildly inconsistent, and I think he's easily rattled. He's kind of an emotional basket case when he's up. Yeah, when he's a front runner, when he's up, when he's high, he's extremely high. I mean, he's got high emotions, and he'll play well. But then you get in his head, he falls apart very fast. And that's why I don't think Carolina's going to be a real playoff threat.
All right, Alex just sent me it, and I'm thinking there's a decent chance that maybe Cam Newton didn't graduate from Auburn, but that's just a guess. Everybody picked that one. So we are going to take a break to check out our sponsor, mybookie.ag, and an ad that the Puck Guys podcast did. The Puck Guys are Jason Lamb and Patrick Mahoney. If you're a hockey fan, they do an absolutely great podcast that I highly recommend. And the thing that should bring you back after this 1 minute and 9-second break is the fact that the next 2 games that will be picked will be the Indianapolis Colts game and the San Francisco 49ers game. You won't want to miss it.
Hey, Puckheads, this is Patrick.
And Jason.
From the Puck Guys podcast at the Grueling Truth Network, and we're here with one simple message. If you're watching the games, it's time to start making money.
The Grueling Truth has partnered with MyBookie.ag, an industry-leading sportsbook website who reminds you that where you bet is just as important as who you're betting on. And that's why the Grueling Truth urges you to check out MyBookie.ag.
In addition to the usual thousands of odds, money lines, proposition bets, and futures offered on MyBookie.ag daily, they also have in-game live betting and a mobile site that makes wagering on the go easier than ever. So join now, and MyBookie.ag will give you a 50% bonus on your first deposit of up to $3,000 in extra cash. Just enter the promo code TGT50. That's TGT50 to take advantage of this offer. Where do they got to go, Jay?
That is a smart-looking question, Pat. They need to go to visitmybookie.ag, courtesy of the Grueling Truth Network, and enjoy your winning today.
MyBookie.ag. You play, you win, you get paid.
All right, guys, we're back with Week 12 of the NFL Pick'em Show. I'm your host, Mike Goodpaster. Of course, my co-host, as always, Brian Schmidt, Matt Andruscavage, Alex Golden. I didn't screw your name up that time, Alex. I know I've done it a lot, but not that time. All right. What we've got is the next game, the Tennessee Titans at the Indianapolis Colts. Alex.
Yeah, so like I said a little bit earlier, if you guys are paying attention and not falling asleep with me rambling on about my pick, I'm going to pick the Colts here. As shocking as that sounds, this Tennessee team has not looked good to me. The Colts have played better, even though they've lost 3 in a row. But they've been very close games that they've lost. I just think they're coming off a bye. Chuck Pagano is fighting for his coaching career. Even if it's not with the Colts next year, it's going to be with somebody else if he still wants to, be involved somehow. So this will be a big game for them to kind of prove that they're still in it somewhat. I don't really want the Colts to win, to be honest with you. I want the Titans to win, but I'm going to pick the Colts here in a very close game.
I thought you were a Colts fan.
I am a Colts fan, but I'm looking at bigger picture here. Better draft pick.
Oh, man. That's a sad way to look at life. Especially when you've
Why
got...
would I want a Niner fan, and I always want them to win.
Yeah, why would you want your team to lose?
Here's the thing. In my heart, I'm like, I have a hard time rooting against them, I'll be honest. Like, I was at that Steelers game, to be honest with you, and the whole time I was there, I was like, man, I want the Steelers to win. But then as the game started, I was like cheering my butt off for the Colts. And there were so many Steelers fans at that game, it was almost intimidating. Felt like I was on the road, actually. But, I just think that there's a lot of question marks with this team, obviously. And they do have some key guys coming back. Clayton Gathers, their tight end number 2, Eric Swoop, who they believe in, is coming back. And so Jacoby Brissett seemed to be okay today at practice and yesterday, so I think he's getting through that concussion protocol. But, I don't know. I have a feeling they're going to win, but I really just want them to get a better offensive line to protect Luck whenever he comes back.
All right. Matt, I know you would never cheer against your team. Who you got, Tennessee or at Indianapolis?
I got Tennessee in this game. I've watched the Colts a number of times this year. I think they've played well at times. I do think they've got weapons. I like Jacoby Brissett. I think he's proven to be a capable quarterback. Coming out of New England, being thrust into that starting job there, and then the Colts getting him in that trade. I think that was a good move, especially in light of the Andrew Luck situation. So I think he's a decent quarterback. I think they've just got problems on defense, offensive line, and I think Tennessee has underachieved. But when push comes to shove, I like Marcus Mariota, good quarterback. I think on the ground, he's dangerous. I like their 1-2 punch at running back with Henry and DeMarco Murray. They've got a number of wide receivers. They've got another emerging tight end behind Delaney Walker now. And I know they've struggled at times, but no, they're not as good as Pittsburgh or anything like that. But I think this is still a decent football team that will contend for a wild card. So I do think they're better than Indianapolis, and I think they'll win.
Well, I'm going to agree with Matt just because I think Tennessee's a much better football team. They haven't played like it. But the 40-17 against Pittsburgh, I don't think showed what kind of team they are. You had a Thursday night game where basically they get 3 days to prepare for the Steelers, and they have to go to Pittsburgh. So, I mean, Pittsburgh's the better team. But you play it on a Sunday, I think they only lose by 10 to 14 points. You play it on a Thursday and have to go to Pittsburgh, you get killed. I'm going to go with Tennessee. Brian?
Yeah, I'll go with Tennessee. The thing about that Pittsburgh-Tennessee game was there were pockets in that game where Tennessee wasn't playing that badly. But it was one of the few times this year where when Pittsburgh turned it on, they turned it on offensively and defensively at the same time. But Tennessee's a good team, and I just, I understand Indianapolis is coming off a bye week, but I just don't see. I don't see them being able to beat Tennessee.
All right, the next game, the Seattle Seahawks, who took a tough loss to the Atlanta Falcons 34-31 last night, are 7-point favorites at the San Francisco 49ers. Matt?
Well, I will be cheering for my team. And I'll tell you about that. Dexter Carter and I have talked about this on our show about, there's a lot of fans out there for when you're having a season like the Niners are having. There's a number of teams that have struggled in that area over the last few years. Fan bases want to start cheering for draft picks, and that is definitely not the player's mentality, and it's not really something that you should want because you want your players, you want the guys that on your team to get used to winning. You want them to have confidence in winning. You throw that away. I would rather have that than, GMs for every team miss on picks. You can have a high pick and you can blow it. There's no guarantee in anything in the draft. You got to work with what you have, and you hope that winning is contagious, and you want your guys to get used to winning. You're still going to have a high draft pick anyways. So I would like them to win, but this week I don't think my team is going to win. Seattle is up against the wall. Now, Seattle's got all kinds of problems. They've got big-time problems in the secondary. Cam Chancellor and Richard Sherman are going to miss the season. Their other corners are not very good, although they still have Earl Thomas. But where the Seahawks have an advantage over the Niners is their front seven is still very largely intact, even though Cliff Averill isn't there. The Niners' offensive line is been makeshift for most of the year. Even though they'll have most everyone back, it's a problem. They're just not going to be able to stop that pass rush. I don't know which quarterback is going to play, but I'm guessing it's going to be Bethard. He's tough as nails. He's taken a beating, but he hangs in there. He's really tough, but I just think he's going to be under duress for most of the day, and I don't think the Niners' run game is going to be super effective against that front seven. Defensively, I do think they can get pressure on Russell Wilson, but Russell Wilson has shown repeatedly that he can play through the pressure, play through the fact that he has almost no running game to speak of, and he just makes plays. And I just see them being able to make more plays than the Niners. And even though the Niners, could give them some fits at some point, but I just think the Seahawks are just a better team. The Niners are in full rebuild, so I'm not going to be crazy here and take the Niners, even though I'd love to see it.
Oh, man. I had an Oz throwback here. That was an Oz talk.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to do that.
Well, I think with a team like the 49ers, going 1-15 or 2-14 is a really bad thing just because you got a new coach just trying to change the culture. Yeah. You got to see some success. So I think the key with them is I know a lot of people, especially like Bengal fans, will talk about teams that won a few games in a row and basically just weren't that good at the end of the year. I think this is a team that needs to win a few games at the end of the season just to get some confidence, just to get some belief in the new coach.
But they don't play Cleveland or anything like that. That's the hard part. They're playing pretty good teams the rest of the way. It's going to be difficult for that to happen with all the injuries they've had.
I know. That's why I brought it up. Alex.
Yeah.
Seattle at San Francisco. Wake up.
Oh, sorry. Matt was talking so much about the 49ers, I took a little cat nap there.
Well, I had to clarify because you seem so confused with your pick. 1 minute you're cheering for them, the next minute you want them to lose. So I'm just trying to just clarify how you should be looking at it.
Yeah, well, I think everybody's entitled to do what they want to do, Matt. So just let me be myself.
You can do what you like. You seem very contradictory to me.
Oh, well, anyway, I'm just going to move on here. There's no reason to pick the 49ers in this game. They're not going to win this game. Seattle's going to demolish them, and they need to because they need to stay in playoff contention. So with that being said, let's just move on from this. Seattle wins big here.
All right, I think Seattle wins by 10-14. I think the Niners are slowly getting a little better, and Seattle's terrible. Brian.
Yeah, I'll take Seattle. Till the 49ers get any semblance of better, it's really hard to pick them against anybody unless they were playing Cleveland.
All right, I'm going with Seattle also. The next game is an actual game. The New Orleans Saints at the Los Angeles Rams on mybookie.ag. The Rams are favored by 2.5. Alex?
Now, this is probably the game of the week right here. New Orleans on the road at Los Angeles. This is going to be a tough one. But, yeah, I'm going to pick the Saints here just because seeing them come back last week against the Redskins just showed the heart of this team. And if you saw Mark Ingram's post-game interview, you just saw how passionate this team is and how much fun they're having. And, they're ready to prove something. Now, the Rams definitely need this win to, get back on track. But I do think that the Saints' defense has been pretty solid, and I'm going to go with the Saints.
Brian?
Historically, the Saints on the road have not been very good, but they've been much better, obviously, on the road this year. I'm going to go with the Saints. I just think they're too hot not to go with right now.
Matt?
Yeah, exactly. I think the Saints are much improved on the road. I like their run game. Their defense is better, and the Rams really don't have, I wouldn't call that a home field advantage at this point in their franchise's history. They're just not there yet. I think New Orleans has there's every reason to pick the Saints here, so I'll pick New Orleans.
All right, I'm going to take the Saints, but I'm not real sure about it. But I'm going to go with the Saints. I mean, they are hot, but they didn't play that well last week. The Rams can run the ball. Jared Goff, I think the offense will be better at home than it was on the road just because they're young guys playing at home. The next game, Jacksonville -5 at Arizona. Matt?
Interesting game. But I think Arizona's just got too many problems. I just don't think they got enough at quarterback and at running back to win a game like this. Jacksonville, when Leonard Fournette is there, that's enough on offense. They do just enough on the passing attack. But I like their defense. It doesn't matter where it's played. I think Arizona it doesn't have the firepower in this game. So I'm going to go with Jacksonville to win a defensive. I think their defense will just swallow up Arizona's offense.
Yeah, I agree. So I'm going to go with Jacksonville also. Brian?
Yeah, I'll agree. I'm going to go with Jacksonville. The thing about Jacksonville is they don't have a great offense, but they do just enough defensively. They play real well. But I was against Cleveland. I mean, as boring as that game was to watch, the one thing that Jacksonville did offensively is they do just enough. They don't really turn the ball over. They play field position, and eventually they just kind of wear you down. And I think that'll be enough against Arizona, where you'll see them win 20-10 kind of deal.
All right, Alex.
Yeah, I just think when Blaine Gabbert, your quarterback, he's only won 9 games out of 41 that he started. It's just not something you can really bank on. And Jacksonville's defense has been pretty good. I think they have 7 wins right now, and they're ahead of the division. And I know Tennessee's playing the Colts, so that's going to be a game they're going to keep an eye on. And if Tennessee gets that win and they lose in Arizona, then they're tied again. So, yeah, I think Jacksonville wins this game, and I think they win it by a touchdown or 2.
All right, the next game, the Denver Broncos at the Oakland Raiders. The Raiders are favored by 5. Neither team's playing very well. I'm going to go with Oakland just because they don't have Brock Osweiler playing quarterback, Schmidt.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Oakland. I should have never gone with Denver last week, and I'm not going to make that mistake 2 weeks in a row.
Well, no intelligent man ever bets against the Cincinnati Bengals. Alex Golden.
And see, that's why I picked them 2 weeks in a row. You know what I'm saying, Mike?
Yes. I just want to see how smart you are next week when they play Pittsburgh.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll pick Pittsburgh because Pittsburgh is the best team in that division. See, I pick with my head, not my heart.
Yeah,
kind of like how I root for my team.
That's why you picked the Colts like 5 times this year. How's that worked out?
Oh, that was just because I'm not going to catch up anyway, right? So, but anyway, you know, when you look at this
like
game
heart,
here,
then.
Yeah,
huh?
That makes it a heart
Sounds
pick.
like your heart.
Yeah, but I mean, if I was really picking with my head and I was actually competing, then I would pick smarter. But that's what I'm doing recently, right?
Well, see, that's
like,
actually a trait of a Colts fan. What the hell? We're behind. We're not really competing, even though you're competing every week with us. So you just don't care if you win
but
or
I'm
not.
I'm not going to catch up.
What's
I'm
your
way
last
too far
name?
behind.
Irsay?
Victory.
Huh?
What's your last name, Irsay?
No, don't put me with that association.
Yeah,
I don't
you'd have to belch
Irsay.
and grope a waitress.
Well, I don't do any of that stuff.
That's what I mean. So don't be a Colts
right.
fan. You got to just be a Bengals fan. It's close enough to go to the games. At least our owner's harmless. He just sits around and does nothing.
Yeah, I think we're all in a bunch of trouble here besides Brian. You know, he's the only one that's got a good team to root for. So, but looking at this game, though, I mean, if you look at Oakland overall, the times they have won games is when Derek Carr has played really well, and in games that he struggled, the whole entire Raiders team has struggled. So, you know, Denver's defense is still decent, and they're going to keep them in the game, but I'm going to pick the Raiders by 3 here at home.
All right. Matt Andruscavage.
Yeah, I'm going to go the Raiders as well. Denver just has real problems on offense, and while, you know, like you guys said, you know, the defense is still pretty good, but I think the Raiders can do enough, and you know, they're hanging by a thread. I think they know they got to win this game. I just think Denver's in real trouble, so I'm going to go Raiders.
All right, the next game, the Green Bay Packers at the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is a game you would have thought would have been a great matchup, Brian, but not so much now.
No, this was a marquee matchup before Rodgers got hurt, and now not so much. But you know, Pittsburgh's going to win it easily. I don't. Outside of a complete implosion, I just don't see any way Green Bay will beat Pittsburgh in this.
All right, Alex.
Yeah, Pittsburgh's winning this one for sure. Green Bay looked terrible last week. I don't think Hundley is a good quarterback anymore.
Well, it's just one game, and he is a rookie. And at least he's not Scott Tolzien. Matt Andruscavage.
Okay.
That's a bad quarterback, by the way.
He's not even a quarterback.
Matt?
I was just letting you guys banter. That's all right. The thing about Brett Hundley is, you know, this is his 3rd year in the Mike McCarthy school of quarterbacking, and it just doesn't look like it's going anywhere. I thought the Ravens game, when you're watching it, they had every chance to win, and they just couldn't do anything. So I can't imagine them going to Pittsburgh and being able to even compete in this game. I don't see anybody that can cover Brown. I don't think they're going to be able to stop Le'Veon Bell. I mean, Pittsburgh should be able to win by at least 21 points here.
All right. Alex, I think we already used you, so I'm going with Pittsburgh also. Alex, did you pick this one?
Yeah, I said the Steelers are going to win this game, but I do want to ask a question to you guys. Behind Aaron Rodgers, what backup quarterback for Green Bay has ever turned into anything good?
Mark Brunell?
No,
Brooks?
behind Rodgers. Behind Rodgers.
Oh, behind Rodgers.
Because Matt Flynn was the big name that everybody was going after. Then he went to Seattle.
He's good
and
in Green Bay's system, and that's it.
Yeah, but see, this is the
He was
thing.
only good.
This is what I think people miss. The Green Bay Packers consistently draft poorly. The roster is not that good. They win because of Aaron Rodgers. If you put just a good quarterback with the Packers, they're not a good football team. You got to have somebody special when you have a bunch of guys that aren't special.
Right.
So
I agree.
I think with the Brett Hundley thing, I mean, if you put him in a different system with more talent, he's probably a good quarterback. But when you stick him where he has not much help, plus you got all the injuries on the offensive line, doesn't hurt, but they have no depth. And that's been their problem for the last 5 years. I mean, every year when they get knocked out of the playoffs, what do we hear from Green Bay Packer fans? Oh, injuries killed us. You know, injuries, this is the thing. When they beat Pittsburgh in the Super Bowl 45, they had 16 guys on injured reserve, and all they talked about is how great a team they were because they had 16 guys on injured reserve and still won the Super Bowl. The difference is,
Right.
the 5 or 6 years before that, they drafted well. They drafted depth. They drafted special teams. They had guys that could back up. The last 5 years, they haven't, and they've went in a crapper. But the next game, Monday Night Football, the Houston Texans, led by Tom Macho Man Savage, at the Baltimore Ravens, who are favored by 7. Alex.
Is that me and Matt together? You said Malix.
No, I said Alex.
Okay.
I heard Malix.
Yeah, I didn't know if you wanted us to answer in like unison. So,
all right, on the
I'll go
count
ahead
of
and go.
three, you and Matt will call you guys Malix from now on. Answer 1, 2, 3.
Baltimore.
Matt screwed it up.
I don't know.
You don't know?
I'm not sure who's going to win this game.
We'll go to you
Baltimore went to
last.
Green Bay
then.
and won on the road.
And Tom Savage probably isn't as good as Brett Hundley, but the Houston team, I think, is better. I'm going to agree with Alex as much as it pains me.
Thank you. That's twice in a row now.
Because he is in last place, and I'm going to go with him also. Brian?
Yeah, I'm going to go Baltimore. It does pain me to have to pick Baltimore, but that Texans defense is very good, but that quarterback situation, not so much. And I think, Baltimore will do enough to win this game.
All right, Matt, did you make up your mind yet?
Where's this game played again?
Baltimore. That's in Maryland.
It's in Baltimore. Okay, yeah, then I'll go with Baltimore. I didn't think Baltimore was super impressive last week, but they did play well enough on defense. I think Houston at times has still been able to do some things on offense. DeAndre Hopkins is still getting some production. Lamar Miller's still playing pretty well. I just don't really like Baltimore that much, but I think they can just do enough to win, and I think John Harbaugh's a heck of a coach, so I'll take Baltimore in a tight game.
All right, guys, that wraps up Week 12. Final thoughts? Alex?
Yeah, I hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving. If you're traveling anywhere, be safe. And if you are traveling, check out all the great podcasts that we have put out there for you. So I'll have a podcast up tonight covering all 30 teams of the NBA. We just talk about what each team should be thankful for. And then also had an interview yesterday with Michael Grady from the Grady and Big Joe show here in Indianapolis on the podcast as well. And he talked all things NBA there. So if you're an NBA fan, check that out. If not, we have a lot of great NFL shows up here. Matt has one there with the 49ers. And, just a lot of cool stuff going on right now at the Grueling Truth. So make sure you check it out.
All right, Brian?
Yeah, I'll say the same thing. Everybody have a great Thanksgiving, and as always, go Steelers.
And do you want to say bye to Becky?
Oh, yeah, hey, bye, Becky. I'll call you in about 5 minutes.
All right.
Don't do
Matt.
it,
Becky. All right, yeah, same here. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody, and definitely use mybookie.ag and check out all of our podcasts.
All right. I want to remind everybody you can check out the College Football Pick'em Show, which is posted now on thegruelingtruth.net. That was myself, Brian Schmidt, former Alabama offensive lineman Bill Searcy, former Miami Hurricane legend, plus Steeler and Jaguar great, all-pro offensive lineman Leon Searcy, so make sure you check that out. For live shows, Friday afternoon, if you're a boxing fan, we'll have former junior middleweight champion of the world, Matthew Hilton will be on the show at 3 o'clock Eastern Time on thegruelingtruth.net. You can also catch that on Spreaker. Remember, you can hear all of our shows on iHeartRadio, iTunes, Spreaker, Stitcher, wherever you hear sports podcasts, you'll find The Grueling Truth. So, for Matt Andruscavage, Brian Schmidt, Alex Golden. I'm Mike
Go Colts.
Goodpaster. You've been listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.